Sometimes when we begin a project, we get blessed with focus, fun, and fortitude, and we can ride it like a wave for a time, maybe a few days, maybe even a few weeks or months. But eventually, we lose the fun. We have to force the focus. As the fortitude just falls away, everything loses its edge, the focus falls, everything becomes abstract, and we can't remember what we were even doing this thing for. Those goals of achieving something great, giving to the people something amazing, to build a life of creative expansion, it all seems abstract and far away, and we become like a boxer in the late rounds of a fight with our bells rung. Shark-infested waters of overthinking enter into the picture, and we can hear the Jaws theme music get louder and faster. The nightmare of creative burnout descends upon us, and the next thing we know, we forgot how to move forward, we forgot how to focus, and we get into the space of overestimating everything we've already done and underestimating everything we may one day do. Our past days go up on a pedestal, and we think of when we were great, or at least feel that way now compared to this new lost soul of who we've become. And by the way, none of this is real, but rather just one more of the mental tricks we play on ourselves, or the devil plays on us while we are trying to overcome generational limitations, generational curses. It's not easy work to stay creatively focused and consistent, and we need to dig deeper than we thought most of the time. And we forget to lean into work like a punk rock song made by experimental lunatics. In short, we forget to have fun with it. And we forget that we've been winging it the whole time anyway. We forget that at our best, we were just having fun and not thinking too hard. Doing more than thinking and being more than doing. When it's easy, it's effortless. But when we lose the thread of ease and fun, it can be hell finding it again. There should be a name for this particular booby trap, perhaps there is, I don't know what it is, but ultimately it's about perseverance, no matter what. So we must not overestimate our past or underestimate the inspiration that will roll if we just let it roll again and treat every stumbling block as a learning experience against the same old demon called perfectionism. Because that's what it really is. It's perfectionism dressing up in new ways, trying to disguise itself yet again. Look out when focus becomes a game of hocus pocus or magic, because that's a sign that we're overcomplicating it. We probably need to simplify something, do a re-edit, and move again, act, take action with a simplified script. Cut a punk rock song, sing off key into a microphone on purpose, start a new canvas, take one step in front of the other, recalibrate, reinvent, go on a run, but then work. Sometimes consistency's thread is going to take us through a funhouse that we can't avoid. In order to follow it, we have to view ourselves through distorted lenses and bending glass. That's just how consistency looks at times when following it into a dream fulfilled. Consistency is difficult because the world shifts and abstracts all around us, and because we overestimate where we've been and underestimate where we are going. In short, perfectionism and overthinking have repackaged themselves and snuck through the back door into a whole new head trip. But we must recognize we must begin again as if for the first time. So this one's about that. Creative consistency and letting go. So let's bring up two of the biggest examples of creative consistency of our modern era. Both of these examples created success from their consistency, and their consistency was as much their work as the work itself. One could even say that their consistency was, more important than their work. Both did excellent work, mind you, but it was also the consistency within that work which engaged success to the ridiculous degree both of these gentlemen attained it. And Beeple, the digital artist, and Casey Neistat, the vlogger, are the two I'm thinking of here. The two people who kept focus on a vision in our modern age for extraordinary lengths of time, and whose ideas both eventually paid off massively in terms of creative success and living a life of creative fulfillment on their own terms. 1, prioritize process over inspiration. I got this off of a Beeple article when I looked it up. Prioritize process. What I described about being lost in the act of being a human, the mood swings, the fluctuations with diet and exercise, the dramas people bring, the dramas we bring. The process has to be our priority. We have to ignore inspiration's absence or presence entirely, because inspiration is great, but it's hardly consistent. Beeple says, I don't have the luxury of just waiting till I'm inspired. I can't sit here and wait for an hour till the magical muse comes down and kisses my forehead. I gotta just sit down and put some shit out. That's what Beeple says. And that's really true if you think about it. You just have to, at a certain point, just get something down. And I think this philosophy works really well. It's just as a general mode of engaging in creativity. It's, you know, because on one level people would say like, oh, well, you know, you're just putting out any old junk. But I honestly think if you have this mode of process over inspiration, and your idea is to do something daily, you're gonna land into genius stuff more than if you wait around for like the so-called muse to come and really like touch you on your magical forehead, like he said. He did this every day for over 14 years. I think it goes on to this day. I think he's still doing it. Maybe it's 16 years by now. I don't know. Most of us have already let ourselves down from the objective of consistent action. So most of us make these kind of goals. I know I'm one of them, and I've already let myself down. But so we let ourselves down frequently, but fear not, and we can't let that fact stop us. We have to push forward from here. Nevertheless, we continue. Nevertheless, we fight on. If our goal is to be consistent, even if we've let ourselves down, that's just one more booby trap to overlook. So even that one becomes one more thing to get over. Never mind and wander through the funhouse yet again. Focus from today, moving forward like you've never missed a turn. And remember, constraints are a good part of what Beeple did to produce the result he got. He gave himself a couple hours for each artwork. That's an extreme constraint. And the process was his God, not inspiration, not quality, not comparing himself to last month or last year's successes, but to keep going through all the dry spots while he had to force it. And that's the thing. It's like, I have done work like this where it's just like, make sure I keep going. And then you go through a phase where you're knocking it out the park and you're doing all this really great work. And it's kind of the point I was trying to make earlier in the video, which is just like, then you start comparing yourself to that. And then you have like a few dry days, or it's just not that inspired, and you have to like kind of push through, and you can negatively compare yourself. But you just got to keep the thread alive. That's just one more pitfall. So the constraints push the work through. So try and see if you don't accidentally land on genius from time to time if you employ this. Now here's Casey Neistat. Thinking is what he says. Thinking is the thing that prevents people from acting, Neistat has told Entrepreneur magazine. Thinking is the thing that gums up the process of your productivity. Your instincts are there to keep you alive. You can trust them, especially when it comes to entrepreneurship. So we need to shut the mind down and act. That's the message. The mind and thinking put on the disguise of the concerned friend, the one leading you in a positive direction, but they're lying. What we are after is output and creative expansion and consistency. We never know from which zone the magic will occur. Our life is a punk rock song. Our life is an everyday. Let's not wait for results. Let's move forward and have faith in the blossoming. I got stuck, and the root of that stuckness was judgment or thinking. Beeple and Casey say the same thing. Turning thinking upside down. The process is God. Action is not one of the things. Action is the only thing. Like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Please tell me how you guys stay consistent and what you're gonna do to act no matter what this nightmare scenario up here sometimes tells us, keep going.